You have tuned into the BearDown Corner with your host, Sergeant Julio. God damn it. Hey everybody, this is the BearDown Corner. I'm Sergeant Julio, and we got your Week 9 recap right here, right now. Thursday night's game hosted the Baltimore Ravens going into the Miami Dolphins, where you had Lamar Jackson returning for his first game from his hamstring injury after their bye week. They did not disappoint. 204 yards and 4 touchdowns in the air, 2 of them going to Mark Andrews. Derrick Henry ran for 119 yards, with most of those bursts coming in the fourth quarter as Miami's defense just could not stop the Giant, and they could only weasel a mightily 6 points. They looked like garbage on Thursday night. Miami is a dumpster fire. Stay far away from that team. Chicago went into Cincinnati. Let me break it down quite simply like this. Of the, I think, 8 or 9 possession changes that we had in that game, I had about 28 heart attacks. Okay? I tell you, I'm scared for our defense, but I think we have enough talent to overcome it if we can just shore up a little bit on the defensive back situation. We have multiple guys on IR right now, but you know what? Everyone has injuries. So I'm not going to sit here and hum and haw about mine. Or I mean the Chicago Bears, I should say. They were able to come away with a thrilling victory in a day where Joe Flacco and Caleb Williams put on a show. So each quarterback had Caleb Williams 3 touchdowns, Joe Flacco 4 respectively. Caleb also had a receiving touchdown on 2 receptions he had on this day. There were trick plays coming out of the ass by Ben Johnson. And Kyle Monanga, okay, rookie 7th round pick, had 26 attempts, 176 yards, and 3 receptions for 22 yards. This kid accounted for almost 200 yards of offense on this day. So offensively, I'm not worried at this point. Caleb Williams needs to shore up his decision making on certain stuff, but that's every quarterback. Cincinnati was down by 2 scores at one point late into the fourth quarter. And what do? They go down, they drive the field, they score. They make it a 1-score game. Okay. Then they do the onside kick. Now, in an onside kick, the ball must go at least 10 yards for you to then recover the kick. Now, obviously, that 10 yards is going to go right into enemy territory. My guy decides to step up a few yards instead of letting them come towards him, and it taps his fucking foot. Bengals recover, they go down, and they score. I will mind you, though, there was a defensive interception by our linebacker, okay, just before they even made these 2 drives. And he returned that son of a bitch almost 94 fucking yards. And what is it? Vic got called back, and we ended up with just a possession that we moved the ball a little bit. Why? The guy touched. Then he went down to the ground because he was just rolling. Honestly, if you are able to go to the highlights and watch it, it is absolute trash that it was called back. At that point, it would have made the game like 47 to 30 something, like 17 plus points, 3 possessions, game's out of hand, right? But instead they called it back. So now we're in a situation where, like I explained, the onside kick, they drive, they score. So Cincinnati is now up 1 point. And what do? Well, boy, we marched the field, and then in the broken defense of Cincinnati, Colston Loveland breaks away for a 58-yard touchdown to seal the game 47-42 for the Bears. Hallelujah, we win. Let's go. 5-3 and moving along. Next week, we'll see what happens. Anyway, that is the final for the Bears game. Now, Denver goes into Houston, where it was a defensive shit show shootout. And on the few plays that were able to be made by Denver on this day, Bo Nix was 18 of 37 for 173 yards, but he got it done with 2 touchdowns. All right. Houston kicked 5 field goals. C.J. Stroud even before getting smacked, and then his head bounced off the ground and he went off to concussion after that. Their backup quarterback, Mills, he could generate enough to move the ball, but couldn't execute in the red zone. So they kicked 5 field goals. Defensively, they did their best to hold that Denver team, but it was not enough, as once again, Denver rolls down the field and kicks the game winner as time expires. 49ers travel to New York Giants, where the San Francisco went off with Christian McCaffrey. We're just going to read Christian's because he was basically the offense on this day. 28 attempts for 106 yards rushing, 1 touchdown on the ground, 1 touchdown in receiving, 5 receptions for 67 yards. He was the leading receiver and rusher this day. The man is the only man who has been healthy. Amazing considered he had Achilles tendonitis last year. But he has been healthy, and Mac Jones has been a bright spot for this team considering the amount of injuries that have piled up on them again. But they're winning. 34-24 was the final. Jackson Dart threw a couple touchdowns and rushed for 1 in the game, but it wasn't enough. So I see New York being able to make games fun and competitive, but I don't know. They have an overpaid defense that ain't stopping shit. Indianapolis, the 7-1 AFC leading Indianapolis, went into Pittsburgh territory. And the Pittsburgh Steelers did not disappoint this day, as the defense showed reminiscence of the old 70s teams, as they went 6 turnovers, 3 forced fumble recoveries, 3 interceptions, and 24 points off those turnovers. They went 27-20. Carolina traveled to Green Bay, where Rico Dowell went off with 130 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns with 2 receptions, and Bryce Young led the game-winning drive at the end for them to kick for Fitzgerald's game winner to make it 16-13 as the number 1 overall in the NFC get defeated by the 4-4 Carolina Panthers, who are now 5-4. Green Bay now has 2 losses, 1 tie, and 5 wins on the season. Minnesota traveled to Detroit, where J.J. McCarthy made his season return, and he did not disappoint in what was a defensive battle, football game basically, but with enough, it was basically just an overall football game. They fought, they scraped, they did everything they needed to. They had over 100, close to 150 yards rushing this day. J.J. McCarthy had 1 of those rushing touchdowns, mind you, and he also threw for a pair of them with 170 yards in the air. So that team has now grinded out, basically over the course of week 9, not that the entire landscape of the NFC North has changed, but man, the 2 bottom teams won and the 2 top teams lost in the division. So we're all creeping up on everyone. So who knows who's going to make it out of that division. LA Chargers go into Tennessee, where they beat the Tennessee Titans 27-20. Justin Herbert threw for 250 yards with 2 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. He was also the leading rusher with 57 yards on the ground. And they also lost a very important key piece, which we'll tell you a little bit more later on from their O-line. The Atlanta Falcons went into New England, where they ended up shitting the bed on the final play of the game, as Parker Romo misses the game-winning field goal that would have put them up, but instead lose 24-23. New England picks up the victory. Michael Penix Jr. had 3 touchdowns for 250. Drake May had 259 and 2 touchdowns. They also ran the ball more effectively, though, and their defense held Atlanta more in check. So they went to the air. And if he didn't have Drake London, I don't think this kid would have any stats. Drake London is the hero of the day for Atlanta, even coming back in this thing. He had, I think, like 15 targets or something like that. 9 catches, 118 for 3 touchdowns. Like, all this star talent just, I don't know. Some teams just aren't figuring it out. And you know what? That's their issue. Like, New England's getting it done. They're winning close games. They're blowing teams out. Defensively, they've gotten better. New England, Well, shit, they're at this point, there's no reason to not say they couldn't, if they run the schedule, finish atop of the AFC East and beat the Bills for it. The Bills might be a wild card. Like, it's nuts. And I love it. It's football season, baby. Let's go. Jacksonville went into Las Vegas. Oh, man, I watched that game. That was a good game. Holy shit. Brock Bowers had 12 catches for 127 yards and 3 touchdowns on that Sunday afternoon game. But it wasn't for naught that Jacksonville, they are determined. And they are gritty. And they grinded the shit out of that game to walk away with the 30-29 overtime win. The game was tied 23-23 as Cam Little kicked and tied it to send him into OT. Jacksonville goes down the field. Trevor Lawrence goes in and scores his second touchdown of the game. He had 2 rushing touchdowns, no passing touchdowns, and 1 interception on Sunday's game. But they grinded it out, and Las Vegas decided to go for 2 to win the game, and it wasn't enough, as they failed and they lost the game in overtime. But to be fair, I don't think they wanted to tie. They're in it for wins at this point. Ties aren't going to do shit when you're already an under 500 team. So, you know what? Smart decision by the head coach, Pete Carroll, to go for 2 on it. It just wasn't successful. New Orleans goes into the LA Rams, where, you know what, I'll just be blunt. LA beat New Orleans 34-10. New Orleans is looking bad. Matthew Stafford is looking good with another 4 touchdown performance, 2 of them going to Devontae Adams. They had Puka Nacua back for this game. He had close to 100 yards and a touchdown as well. And Kyron Williams 114 on the day and 1 rushing touchdown. So offensively, they're looking great. Defensively, you know, playing bad teams, they look really good. Even playing good teams, they look solid enough. I'll put it like that. They have shown the grit that it'll go either one way of the coin for them. But at least they're giving themselves a shot defensively, though. Now, the other afternoon game before the Sunday nighter, Kansas City went into Buffalo for the AFC Championship rematch from last season. And Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes got stuffed. They were able to move the ball just enough, but in overall, he did not look like the Patrick Mahomes we normally see in Buffalo. Which was shocking because they've been clicking on all cylinders the last few weeks. They just got Rashee Rice back. He had another touchdown on the day, except this time it was one of his 2 rushing attempts. He still had 4 catches for 80-some, close to 90 yards, but it wasn't enough. They got shut down at the right times in the game when it counted the most. And then when they did go down, Buffalo would just run it right back. Josh Allen, impressively enough, okay, the man only had 3 incompletions. I'm sorry, I see the stat line and I'm just like, Kansas City's defense wasn't anywhere to be seen when it really mattered. Josh Allen went 23 of 26 for 273, 1 rushing touchdown, 1 passing touchdown, no interceptions, and 2 rushing touchdown. He became the NFL's all-time rushing touchdown quarterback. Not that that matters, but either way, they get down to the line and they just blam it in. James Cook went for 114 on the day, and Dalton Kincaid was their leading receiver with 6 for 101 and his only touchdown of the day. So Buffalo is looking to be getting back on track. Kansas City dropped down, and Denver took a 2-game lead in the division. So it's going to be a hell of a final second half of the season coming up. I'm really excited. Oh, Sunday nighter, here we go. You know what? This one's for you, Mark. Here it is. Seattle went into Washington, where they completely decimated the shit out of the Commanders. Very interesting stat. So in the first half of a game, okay, Sam Darnold did something that only Johnny Unitas did. And that was a perfect passer completion rating 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. His interception came late in the 4th or some shit on some overthrown pass that really didn't need to get thrown, but he did. But either way, he's still, like, he actually matched the stats of Unitas from this day, like 60 plus years ago. So in a first half, they were up 28-0 before I even had a chance to look over, have a drink of my milk, and look back. They did not stop. Washington coughed up the ball as if it was just candy bean throwing money everywhere. Like it's Oprah Winfrey. You get a turnover and you get a turnover. What's that? You want a fumble? You can have one too. Seattle shit pumped the Commanders this night and are showing what the Commanders are in a second season now that people have tape on them. Okay? And you know what? I'll just break it down like this. This will take one of the stories that we got for after the Monday night results. That is Jaden Daniels was knocked out in that game, and he walked away in the 4th quarter. Why are you even playing your star quarterback when you're down 31-7 at that point? They left their quarterback in there, and he got wailed, and he dislocated his elbow. He's now out indefinitely. The job now goes to Marcus Mariota. The Commanders are 3-6. I don't think they're making playoffs. They're done. Just straight up, they're done. They lost Marshawn Lattimore in the game as well for the season. Torn ACL. They're done. And yeah. Otherwise, Jackson Smith-Njigba had 8 catches for 129 yards, and Torrey Holton caught 2 of those touchdown catches. So the Seahawks are looking good. They are a contending powerhouse in the NFC. So look out to see how they continue their triumphant run as they hope to get back in the playoffs, and who knows how far they'll go. Arizona goes into Dallas for the Monday Nighter, and it did not disappoint. It was basically what we all expected. That was Dallas's defense isn't good. I'm sorry you guys hired my former head coach, Matt Eberflus, but that is your decision to have made. And they look bad. Jacoby Brissett dissected this team in the first half. Second half, they turned it up a bit, right? But Arizona was able to lock down and finish the game. Brissett went 21 of 31 for 261 and 2 touchdowns. Arizona's defense had 3 turnovers, 2 fumble recoveries, and 1 interception on Dak Prescott. And they stopped them 3 times on 4th down. And these 4th down conversions were happening early in the game, mid in the game, usually all down in the red zone area. They got stuffed when they could have been kicking field goals at least. So what is Dallas going to do? Let's get to that now. Reports coming out, Jerry Jones has been inquiring about defensive end Trey Hendrickson from the Cincinnati Bengals, linebacker Logan Wilson, also of the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, Wilson was a highly expected starter that fell out of the good graces of Zach Taylor for whatever reason, and they decided to go forth with it and kind of bench the kid. Honestly, at this point, I don't think there's anything saving Cincinnati's defense. I seen a very interesting segment from when I was watching some of the stuff yesterday, and it came from Maurice Jones-Drew of the NFL Network, and I really like this. If you're that defense, you sit them down. If you're Lou Amorano, okay, their defensive coordinator, you sit down your defense and you go like this. We're going to focus on being a cover 2 team, and that's all you goddamn play. You do really, really, really well at one thing, and maybe it'll be enough to help your offense get a few stops so you can outscore them in a shootout. That's the only thing that I see saving the Cincinnati defense right now. This team is not good, but they might be able to trade some pieces off as they're expected to ask for a first-round pick for Trey Hendrickson. Logan Wilson will probably go for like a late 6th, 7th round pick. And he's also inquired about edge rusher out of Miami, Bradley Chubb, the former Denver Bronco. So there could be pass rush help coming to Dallas Cowboys. And what better, right? You turn the Micah Parsons trade into what you would have, signed these guys lucratively to a 4-year, $45 million contract. But now you got Kenny Pickett, okay? Kenny Clark, the defensive tackle you picked up, the nose tackle, right? He played not bad this game. He had a really nice tackle on a screenplay that he read. So maybe you turn those 2 first-round picks you got, or at least one of them, into a star caliber player and then re-sign them, right? And then maybe you pick up Chubb for a 2nd or a 3rd round pick or a combo of picks. Because I wouldn't give up both first rounders. But depending how you see things playing out, you can pick and choose which first round pick you're going to deal. Either way, you have the draft capital to go make this happen. And at 3-5-1, you're not out of it. If you can run a strain of some wins together, Dallas, Jerry Jones and his boys might still make playoffs. Now, are they going to go further than that? Maybe a wild card win, very highly unlikely. Either way, why not still be competitive when you got a top-tier offense? Just my thought. Moving along, Bengals head coach Zach Taylor. Yeah, this one. Okay, this stems from the Bears victory. Okay, so let's put some context on this. Running back Chase Brown expressed his frustration with the media after Sunday's game. And quote his words, "We put the ball in the end zone, go up a point at the end of the game, finish the fucking game." And then some more conversation happened, another question. He's like, well, just end it. That's it. That's what we need to do. Just end the fucking game. He also expressed his disinterest with how the defense can't hold up their end of the deal, basically. And he also stated in a way that if I have to play over there, I don't want to get in anyone's lane. Like, he's a running back. He's a 5th round running back that has talent. Yes. But he can't do it all on his own. The offense can't do it all on his own. They lost their star quarterback, but Joe Flacco was playing just fine. This defense is one of the worst I have ever seen in NFL history. They score 42 points and they don't win. After you came back for 2 possessions? Believe me, my heart dropped when that happened. I don't know, man. I don't know what they do. Long story short, Zach Taylor just basically said, hey, it's not going to happen again. He probably had a talk with him and said, look, you pull this shit, you're going to be on the bench. Maybe he gets a little less playing time next week. We'll see. Ravens traded for 5th round pick to the Tennessee Titans for Dramont Jones, former edge rusher that played... Well, he's a bit of a veteran edge rusher. He's 28. Been a little bit injury riddled. He signed a 3-year contract in Seattle and only lasted it 2 seasons. Signed with Tennessee this last year, hoping to revitalize his career. Not in Tennessee. No one was going to in Tennessee this year. But yeah, they're getting the ball rolling. Pass rusher is hopefully expected to help in the coming future as the Ravens need to get more pass rush. They want to improve this defense. They already traded away Javier Alexander last week to the Philadelphia Eagles. That one really took me off the cake when I seen that. But you know what? The guy only played 2 games for him after he was this highly touted, I'm going to resurrect my career. I'm going to go play with my former quarterback that I played with in college, Lamar. Nope, not the case. Joe Alt will now miss the rest of the season. The left tackle of the Los Angeles Chargers, protecting the blind side of Justin Herbert, tore his ankle on Sunday. Washington linebacker Frankie Luvu, L-U-V-U. Luvu? Is that how you'd pronounce it? I'm going to say Frankie Luvu. Suspended 1 game for his continuous hip drop tackles. Sorry. So there's a certain point where you're not allowed to whip them to the ground that the NFL is trying to eliminate. And because of that, this kid is now getting suspended. But at least they're cracking down on it. They're not just, we'll let you get away with it. No, like if you're a repeat offender, you're going to get caught. And so Washington is now out another key piece in that defense. Shocking. Yeah, Green Bay tight end Tucker Kraft is out for the rest of the season. The tight end tore his ACL in Sunday's loss to the Panthers. Defensive end for the 49ers and 11th overall pick this year's draft rookie Mikael Williams has torn his ACL as well. So he could also be out for the year. Just a year of injuries. That, like, I'm baffled. Every week it's like, which guy on the 5th overall depth chart position is going to jump up to first? And to finish the show, we will tell about star linebacker Jalen Phillips. When the guy was healthy, he is a edge rush passer nightmare. But he used to play with Vic Fangio as he gets sent from the Miami Dolphins to the Philadelphia Eagles for a third round pick. That is the Eagles selection, as they have 2 in next year's draft, but they're going to keep the New York Jets selection they acquired from last year's trade. And he gets reunited. The Eagles get more help on defense. They get hopefully a healthy star corner in Javier Alexander. They're going to have Jalen Phillips as an extra pass rusher. They just got back Brandon Graham. Maybe this team's getting loaded to go for another Super Bowl run. This could be the pieces, but we'll have to let the future dictate that, as that is all the time we have for today. I am Sergeant Holio. This has been the BearDown Corner. We are live every Tuesday morning, 8 o'clock. Eastern Standard, 6 o'clock General Mountain, right here on Spotify and anywhere else you can listen to your podcast. Also on YouTube. Take care, be safe, and we will catch you the next time here on the Bear Down Corner.